Okay. Hey guys, it's Leah and I'm back with another video. I wanted to quickly come on here and just basically talk about why I add sugar to my diet. What's the point? My diet is already very high in fruit and therefore very high in sugar, so why add sugar? And I get it. It doesn't make sense, right? Why add extra sugar when there's already a lot of sugar there? But see, that's the problem. Sugar is a supplement to my diet because fruit is not as sweet as it should be. Fruit quality is very poor. I would say it's subpar, okay? That's why a lot of times I like to turn to dates because dates are always sweet. But if I have banana smoothies, there are many times where I have bananas that are just not good. They're just okay. They're subpar. I could probably eat them, but I'd much rather just throw in a blender and add sugar and just like call it a day because it just tastes so much better. One time I had bananas from Whole Foods. I'm not saying Whole Foods bananas are terrible, but I had bananas from Whole Foods. They tasted like nothing. This was before I was adding sugar to my diet. So I could have benefited a lot from adding sugar into my smoothie then if I knew better. But I ended up having to throw the rest of it away because it tasted terrible. It tasted like nothing. It tasted like water and air with an essence of banana flavor. It was the weirdest thing. I don't know what the heck was wrong with those bananas. It was like a weird batch, I guess. But in those situations, you have sugar as an option. You have sugar as something you can use to sweeten up your fruit. That's all it is. I add sugar to my diet because fruit quality is not great. It's okay, but it's not great. And for most people, that's the case. And you shouldn't be afraid to add sugar to your fruit if you need to do that. We don't live in tropical, like optimal tropical areas where fruit is grown in superb soil and it's picked at the right time, and it's not, the way that fruit is produced and shipped out is basically just for saving money. It's just for basically making sure they just have a lot of fruit regardless of the quality. It's more on the quantity and not the quality. So having refined sugar is like a godsend, and it just makes sure that you get enough carbohydrates with every fruit meal you have. Now, sometimes I may have bananas and I don't add sugar because it tastes good. When I have dates, I don't really add sugar. I may very rarely do that, but most of the time dates are always good quality, always very sweet, so I can always depend on dates. What else? It depends on the fruit. Like apples, I don't really buy apples. I don't really care for them because they're, again, a lot of times they're just tart. Sometimes I'll blend them and make an applesauce with them, and add sugar that way, like cane sugar. I prefer that. Pears, if the pears are terrible quality, again, I'll just make a smoothie with pears and add sugar, and it fixes it up. It just tastes good. So for me, I'm always getting enough carbohydrates in, and that's what's really important, because what ends up happening, especially if you're someone who is like, fruit is the only way, you shouldn't be eating refined sugar because it's bad for you. Well, with a lot of these individuals, they end up turning to more fatty foods because they're not satisfying that carbohydrate need. So while I'm putting the sugar on my fruit to make sure I'm getting enough carbohydrate, and I don't desire these fatty foods, these individuals do desire the fatty foods, like fruitarians, raw vegans, these purist, whole food, plant-based vegan people. It's all like that. They all have to turn to like really, if they're not going to get enough carbs, they're going to end up getting a lot of fat, basically. So that's why I add sugar to my diet. It has been a godsend. It has made eating so much easier and more satisfying. So I hope that was informative. I hope that made sense. I'll probably make this video another 5,000 times. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.